have a Pentagon that has billions of dollars that they hide, we don't ask for any accounting of. They never pass an audit in the history of audits. I've often said the only way we're really going to get to the bottom of this is somebody's going to walk out of one of these labs with this information and puts it out on the internet before they commit suicide by themselves in the back of the head 5 times.
The wonderful country of the United States is always willing to help. They're always willing to help, always signing checks to places like Ukraine, places like Gaza, everything like that. The people that hate America get so much support. How about you take a look at a petition that my friend Willem Petzer and TV Wessels have put together, and they're going to go to the embassy this month, and they're going to hand it over, and you're going to see the hundreds of thousands of white farmers that support Donald Trump. We're not asking for handouts, but we are asking for intervention so people can rightfully keep their property, because no one's going to invest in a country that has expropriation without compensation. Nobody in their right minds would do that. So this is a message to Donald Trump. President Donald Trump, Elon Musk, people like Joe Rogan need to share this far and wide, because you know why? That is illegal what they've done. It is unethical and it is incorrect. So how about we help the good people for a change?
Flashback.
This one's going to blow your mind. Stick with me. I've got a couple of pieces of video I want to show you. Both of them are Joe Biden in Angola. The President of the United States left Washington, D.C., and went to the Western African nation of Angola. Well, there he decided he would announce some aid for people who had been displaced by emergencies in Africa recently.
Today, I'm announcing over $1 billion in new humanitarian support for Africans displaced from homes by historic droughts and food insecurity.
Meanwhile,
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis says there will be a state investigation into the FEMA official who instructed disaster relief workers to avoid homes displaying Trump signs in the wake of Hurricane Milton last month. There are calls in both the Senate and House for investigations into FEMA. Senator Hawley writes, quote, screenshots of FEMA's aid logs show that workers did in fact skip an estimated 20 homes in their canvassing routes, explicitly stating the only reason as Trump sign, no entry per leadership. This is wholly unacceptable. For more on this, let's bring in South Carolina Republican Congresswoman and member of the House Oversight Committee, Nancy Mace. Congresswoman, welcome.
Thank you for having me today.
So what are your expectations? You were on the Oversight Committee. What are your expectations when the FEMA administrator comes to testify before your panel?
Well, FEMA was very quick to say this was an isolated incident, but I'm quite a bit skeptical of that. I want to know how they can affirm that it was isolated and didn't happen anywhere else. I've heard from people throughout the Southeast who applied for that $750 FEMA relief check and were denied within an hour of applying for it. And so I have many questions for FEMA and how we literally clean up this mess.
meanwhile,
I'm announcing over $1 billion in new humanitarian support for Africans displaced from homes by historic droughts and food insecurity.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
We know African leaders and citizens are seeking more than just aid. You seek investment. So the United States is expanding our relationship all across Africa.
I mean, I don't understand. There are still people making videos on this platform and others that are in Western North Carolina and in the Hurricane Helene damaged areas who still say they're waiting to hear from emergency officials. Remember, they had to apply for aid, and some people were turned down for aid here in the United States. He just announced $1 billion to Angola, which you can now find on a map because they just showed you where it was. But while he was there, he had more to say, and this gives you the mindset of the guy who's going to be the president for the next month and a half.
You know, with you in Angola, a vibrant city, and I look, not the city. The city, I know, is not Angola, but in Angola, in a vibrant city.
What? Angola's a country. It's not a vibrant city. It just completely lost its place. So somebody gave him a piece of paper. He read off of it how much money we're giving to Africa. And then he talked about what a great city it is, but it's not, but it is. But listen, I know. This guy, again, the next month and a half, he's going to still be in office. Now, do you think he'll last until January 20th, or might he step down? Give me your comments. Give me your thoughts. Make sure you share this. And come on. Why don't you follow? Come on.
I ain't gonna lie, Joe Biden been acting like a straight shot. I mean, how you gonna give $1 billion in aid to fucking Angola? Fucking Angola, and then you gonna give $700 to people in North Carolina? Fucking Angola. The fuck? America first.
Flashback.
So, disaster relief, this is a falsehood. Disaster relief funds used on immigrants illegally in the U.S. The fact is, no money is being diverted from response needs. That's the fact.
The lie detector determined that was a lie.
So right now I just ran into María. María, tú eres de Venezuela.
Sí.
¿De dónde?
Barquisimeto.
De Barquisimeto.
Tabla.
Oh, ok. ¿Y hace cuánto tiempo llevas aquí en Estados Unidos?
Ya en total voy para 6 meses.
6 meses,
Sí.
Wow. ¿Y qué tal? ¿Cómo te gusta?
Bien. Algunas personas sí no se llevan bien con los venezolanos, pero feliz. Bien,
Feliz.
porque, como yo digo, aquí en Nueva York, Estados Unidos, hay diferentes, como diciendo, nacionalidades de personas de Estados Unidos, de otros países.
Hay de todo el mundo aquí.
Claro, y todos somos felices, tranquilos.
Qué bueno, me alegro. So she said that's here. Everybody, there's people from all over the world and people have treated her amazing. ¿Y tú vives aquí en uno de estos hoteles?
Sí, vivo en el Teswas.
En el Teswas. ¿Y cómo es el tratamiento en el hotel?
Bien.
¿Bien?
Bien.
¿Y cuánto tiempo te dejan quedar en un hotel?
En total 60 días. Que son
60 días. ¿Y después qué hace uno después de los
Después
60?
pasa a la 45
Ok.
en el Roswell y vas otra vez a renovar y te mandan a otro Chester.
Entonces hay que aplicar para los
Sí,
hoteles.
sí.
Ah, wow.
Pero aquí el gobierno ayuda a todos los venezolanos.
Ok, y también dan como para comida.
Sí, sí.
Sí.
Sí,
Wow,
hay
qué bueno.
alimentos para niños. Ahorita están dando tarjeta alimentaria también.
¿Y si no te molesta, cuánto más o menos te dan?
It's crazy, bro. It's insane. I mean, honestly, I'm thinking about going to New York and really just going to see and talk to the people, because I went to New York for the meetup late last year, and it was already popping. And so the Roosevelt Hotel had already been designated as one of the places where migrants can stay, and it's not the only hotel and it's not the only migrant shelter. They also have a lot of gangs and a lot of people, and they assault police, and it's right there in the middle of Times Square, and they pay a lot of money, this hotel. And the budget for this right now, currently, as of what it is that I've researched, the budget for migrants in New York City alone, this don't have nothing to do with Chicago, it don't have nothing to do with Denver, don't have nothing to do with Los Angeles, don't have nothing to do with Atlanta, Boston, all of these different places that's basically designating themselves as sanctuary cities, is $2 billion a year.
Oh, hell no!
Think about that number for a minute.
Meanwhile,
literally everywhere you look. I got a message on X from a woman named Sarah. I want to show you. It says, "Hi, I'm in Swannanoa, North Carolina, one of the hardest hit towns. We lost our home due to the hurricane. We're getting barely any help."
Nice to meet you.
I met Sarah outside the trailer she's living in with her husband, 2 kids, 2 cats, and 2 dogs. Like almost everyone here, their home was destroyed and condemned, and they also lost their cars and their jobs.
Everybody that I've talked to says they're getting no help.
Their trailer was donated by a volunteer, not FEMA, and they have to pay for their own porta potty.
I had to rent this so that we would even be able to use the bathroom.
So you have to pay for that yourself?
Yes. Yeah, it's $130 a month to rent one.
Sarah's one hope was a U.S. Small Business Administration disaster loan. But then she got this voicemail.
This is a call from the U.S. Small Business Administration about your SBA disaster loan application. Due to a lapse in congressional funds, new loan offers will be delayed until Congress provides additional funding for the disaster loan program.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
To be doing, like, there is a lot of waste, fraud, and abuse within a system.
Audits and waste, fraud, and abuse are not the same thing.
Stop breaking the law! Oh!
So let's decompose
Then
these
please
pieces for a
educate
moment.
me on
Sure.
what
So an
the
audit is
difference.
exactly what you just described,
Yes.
which is, do I know what was delivered to which place?
Right.
The ability to pass an audit, or the fact that the DOD has not passed an audit, is not suggestive of waste, fraud, and abuse.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man? Bro, I'm out, man.
That is completely false.
So what is
now
it
it's a question of it's suggestive that we don't have an accurate inventory that we can pull up of what we have where. That is not the same as saying we can't do that because waste, fraud, and abuse has occurred.
The lie detector determined that was a lie.
So in my world,
Yeah.
that's waste.
How is that waste?
If I give you $1 billion and you can't tell me what happened to it, that to me is wasteful. That means you are not responsible. But if you can't tell me where it went, then what am I supposed to think? And when there has been reporting, I mean, this is not, look, I'm not saying this is on you and that you caused this, but I think it's a tough argument to
I'm pretty
make
sure
that
I didn't cause it.
an $850 billion budget to an organization that can't pass an audit and tell you where that money went, like, I think most people would consider that somewhere in the realm of waste, fraud, or abuse, because they would wonder why that money isn't well accounted for. And especially when they see food insecurity on military bases, and they see...
You want to talk about that? Because that's a good... we should be talking... I mean,
Well,
I'm trying to understand where you're trying to go, other than the dollars.
What? Bro, what are you talking about?
Which really bother you.
I think it doesn't really bother me. I think it's all connected.
Okay.
I think
tell
look...
me that story. Tell me how you're thinking about that.
When I see a State Department get a certain amount of money and a military budget be 10 times that, and I see a struggle within government to get people like more basic services, and then that department that got that, I mean, we got out of 20 years of war and the Pentagon got a $50 billion raise. Like, that's shocking to me. Now, I may not understand exactly the ins and outs and the incredible magic of an audit, but I'm a human being who lives on the earth and can't figure out how $850 billion to a department means that the rank and file still have to be on food stamps. Like, to me, that's corruption. I'm sorry. And if that blows your mind, and if you think like that's like a crazy agenda for me to have, I really think that that's institutional thinking, and that it's not looking at the day-to-day reality of the people that you call the greatest fighting force in the world. So I get back to this idea of like, I'm not looking to pick a fight with you, but I am surprised at that the reaction to these questions are, you don't know what an audit is, bucko. Like, that's just weird to me.
Okay.
Meanwhile...
All right, let's debunk the New York Times.
If you want to understand what Elon Musk is doing now to the federal government, all you have to do is look at what he did at Twitter.
In October 2022, Elon Musk bought Twitter for $44 billion and molded it in his own image.
He focused on mass layoffs, on reducing real estate footprint, and on pushing employees to resign so that he could cut back on payroll and real estate costs.
Now he's taking those same tactics to the U.S. government.
Just look at the email that the federal government recently sent to its workers, offering them a buyout to leave the government.
It echoed a similar message that Elon Musk sent to Twitter employees in November 2022 with the exact same subject line.
Musk uses an approach to his businesses called zero-based budgeting. He's now started to use that tactic in government and say basically government spending needs to come down to zero and line items need to be added back one at a time.
And some of the same people that Elon Musk used during his Twitter takeover are now being deployed to help cut costs at the federal level. So it's worth asking, how successful were Elon Musk's tactics in reducing costs at Twitter? While he's cut costs in slashing back budgets and reducing headcount by around 80% of people, corresponding revenue has also gone down.
Its valuation per investors has declined significantly from the $44 billion that Musk paid for the company in 2022. And what happened to those who were late?
They're very selective with their information. And the goal is to push a certain narrative to get you to think that what Elon is doing with the government is bad. But they say, hey, if you want to see what he's doing with the government, just look at what he did with Twitter when he took it over. So yes, he cut a bunch of staff that was unnecessary, and he cut unnecessary costs down. If we apply that to the government, that means more taxpayer savings and more money for us to get our government out of debt. But that's not it. All they told you is that revenues have decreased. So let's go back specifically to what he said.
budgets in reducing headcount by around 80% of people. Corresponding revenue has also gone down.
Notice how he didn't say corresponding profit has also went down, because it hasn't. Notice how he also didn't tell you that there was an advertising coup against X. A bunch of platforms stopped advertising on there to hurt the platform since Elon took it over. But let's go back to profit. He didn't say anything about profit or EBITDA. Let's read this. Start at the bottom paragraph. In 2021, Twitter reported adjusted EBITDA of about $682 million and about $5 billion in revenue. That was the last full year before Elon took the company private. Now let's go to the top. X reported to investors 2024 adjusted earnings, basically adjusted EBITDA, right, of about $1.25 billion and an annual revenue of $2.7 billion. Investors said that that was a better picture than they had expected and that X's finances hit an inflection point a few months before the election. So even with advertisers working against Elon, the company now has less revenue but produces more profit. And mind you, Twitter was a very, very, very left-leaning company. Over 96% of political donations from Twitter employees went to Democrats. It was a very left-leaning company. It was run by the left. So Elon took that company over, removed all the unnecessary pieces, and removed the people that would be harmful to the platform. Dealt with advertisers trying to destroy his platform, and still turned it around. Now it has more features than ever, and is more profitable than it was when he took it over with less revenue. And like she said in the beginning,
if you want to understand what Elon Musk is doing now to the federal government, all you have to do is look at what he did at Twitter.
So now let's think about it. He cut the expenses at Twitter, which would mean he would cut the expenses for the federal government, meaning they would require less tax revenue from you and I. He then made Twitter much more profitable. If he makes the federal government much more profitable, that means more access to pay off our debts, and then more access to provide services for the American people. Twitter has greatly benefited from Elon Musk, and our federal government will do the same. The less expenses our government has, the less tax revenue they need to collect from you and I. The less tax revenue you and I pay, the more money we get to keep in our pockets. And the more profitable the government is, the more they can reinvest back into the American people rather than just paying debts. Do not listen to these news outlets. Elon and DOGE are doing exactly what we need.
Meanwhile,
hi, my name is Jason Bartlett and I'm a white South African. I currently live in the United States and I came here illegally in 2019 and I pleaded for asylum. Now you ask yourself, why on earth would a white South African plead for asylum? Well, I'll give you a few reasons. South Africa is the capital of the world. It is one of the most crime-ridden countries in the world. It is, the current government systematically goes out and murders the white farmers. The very people that feed them are being tortured and brutally slaughtered on a daily basis. The capital of the world, the infant capital of the world. Now, you go onto social media and you, of course, just like America, we've got screaming liberals that have got a woke mind virus. And they will tell you that everything's hunky-dory in South Africa. But they don't tell you that those are the multimillionaires who live in estates behind 10-foot fences that are electrified and paid security guards to monitor those areas for 24 hours. Just other side those fences, people can't stop at a stop sign after 7 o'clock at night. People can't go for a walk at 7 o'clock at night. Maybe a couple of men can go, but you know what? How about the women? They can't go anywhere when the sun sets. You can consider them abused and you can consider them kidnapped. What happens in South Africa is pure evil. Now, I came to America, I came here legally, and I came and I established myself, and as a true South African, like Joe Rogan says, America needs more people that are not losers. And I'm not a loser. I came over here with a few $100s and a suitcase, and I've developed a career for myself. I'm now a superintendent of a golf course. I pay a lot of tax. I support the government. I support the American flag, and I support the American people. I also became a qualified pilot. I am in charge of a farmer's market, as well as I now run a 150-acre farm of my own, where I raise cattle and sheep, all grass-fed and all for the American people, because that's in my blood. That's what I do. And what the most detrimental part to my soul is the fact that people can stand up and say everything's okay in South Africa. because that is my reality. I came here because I've been through some traumatic experiences, including myself and my wife. We've lost family members, we've lost people that we love, and the day-to-day basis of crime and atrocities that are happening in South Africa is something that we don't want to live with. We wanted to come to America, live the American dream, and by the grace of God, we have achieved that, and we're getting stronger and better. However, since 1652, white people have been in South Africa. They've bought their land and they've acquired their land legally. And now, Cyril Ramaphosa, which is our pagan ANC leader, has signed into law expropriation of land without compensation. So if you're white, they can come up to you and tell you, hey, we want that land and we're going to take it and we're going to pillage it and we're going to the earth, and we're not going to create food for anybody, and you can't say anything about it. Zimbabwe 2.0. How did that work out? So, this over here is just a video for you to understand that those white South Africans and white South African farmers are entitled to their land. They're entitled to what they have. They do not have to leave that country. They do not have to be forced to leave that country. So the wonderful country of the United States is always willing to help. They're always willing to help, always signing checks to places like Ukraine, places like Gaza, everything like that. The people that hate America get so much support. How about you take a look at a petition that my friend Willem Petzer and TV Wessels have put together, and they're going to go to the embassy this month, and they're going to hand it over, and you're going to see the hundreds of thousands of white farmers that support Donald Trump. We're not asking for handouts, but we are asking for intervention so people can rightfully keep their property, because no one's going to invest in a country that has expropriation without compensation. Nobody in their right minds would do that. So this is a message to Donald Trump. President Donald Trump, Elon Musk, people like Joe Rogan need to share this far and wide, because you know why? That is illegal what they've done. It is unethical and it is incorrect. So how about we help the good people for a change?
Tell me, what is it that excites you about Donald Trump?
I am ready to have a president who can complete a sentence again, okay? I'm ready for a president who can save this country. And this is why I'm here supporting President Trump. He's done so much for the black community. He's done way more for the black community than any other president.
Can you elaborate on that a little bit? What did he
do? Yeah. Oh, we're going to be here all day. We're going to be here all day. Okay, first of all, when President Trump was in office, black home ownership was up over 30%.
Ooh, let me write that down.
Black unemployment was at an all-time low.
I knew that.
Black unemployment for teenagers was at an all-time low, historic low. He gave so much money to black historic colleges. Actually, they didn't even. There was a time when they had to beg every president for money. President Trump said, "You don't have to beg anymore. I'm going to give y'all an unlimited amount of money, so you don't have to keep knocking on every president's door, begging for money for help." President Trump did that. Not Barack Obama, not the first black president. President Trump did way more for black people than any other president. And I can be here all day, but I have to go to my seat pretty soon to hear the president speak.
If he were to lose again, what would that mean for black America? What would that mean for South Carolina?
Well, if President Trump, to lose again,
what would it mean for you?
I feel like it's impossible.
Well, actually, what it would mean for America, I think America will be doomed. Look at what's going on in this country.
Literally,
we are losing our country right now. This country is literally in shambles. People don't feel it right now, but if President Trump does not win in November, I believe America is headed toward a depression. I think I don't think I will recognize this country anymore. I'm starting not to recognize America anymore. We don't have leadership in this country. We don't have anybody, and we don't have a leader who cares about the American people who put us first.
So when you talk about that American people first, what about the Biden presidency? Do you see not putting America first?
He's bought and paid for, though. They gonna say he's a pawn. I've actually seen him on Twitter.
Never seen him before.
I've seen him on Twitter multiple times.
You seen him?
No, I think so.
He's been talking about
Keeping it
Trump,
real,
like
though.
in Trump supporter since like 2016.
That's crazy.
He been
before
new.
his time.
I've seen him on there for a while.
Said I've been told you niggas.
I recognize him.
So when you talk about that America people first, what about the Biden presidency? Do you see not putting America first?
What? Biden, it's clear he doesn't put America first. Like, what has he done since he's been in office? Besides eat ice cream cones. Besides mumble. Besides have a hard time reading a teleprompter. Besides having a hard time trying to complete a sentence. He can't even complete a sentence. So he can't even he doesn't protect the border. You got illegal immigrants just coming into this country, and then he had the nerves to tell Texas to stand down and let illegal immigrants come into the state of Texas, and I live in Texas. And
that's how bad you want your illegal votes? Hey, boy, y'all better stand down like you see.
We're gonna have a war.
We're gonna have a war about this.
Remember, all them other states said, we with Texas.
Damn, my chest.
So no, alrighty.
Got the nerves to tell Texas to stand down and let illegal immigrants come into the state of Texas, and I live in Texas. And he evidently has never heard of the saying, don't mess with Texas. Actually, don't mess with the American people. Okay? You are either with us or you are against us. And Joe Biden is against the American people. He do not put us first. He put illegal immigrants first. That's who he's putting first. They're talking about giving millions of dollars, loading millions of dollars on credit cards, on debit cards, credit cards, money cards, and giving it out to illegal immigrants so they can buy groceries. So they can buy shoes and clothes and feed their families. What about the veterans? What about the children in America who need help? I come from the foster care system. There are a lot of foster care kids who need help in this country, but they are being ignored.
Me too.
Because we have a man in office, or we have a resident in office who is focusing on helping out people who are not supposed to be in this country in the first damn place.
When you say resident, what do you mean by resident?
Resident, he's a resident. He's not a president. To me, I can't. He's a resident. He's just living at the White House. He's just a resident at the White House. He's just living there.
Well, who's running the country then?
That's a good question.
Elites.
I don't know. Maybe
Barack.
one of his friends. It's sure not Kamala Harris. She can't do nothing but laugh. So it got to be one of his friends.
He did it, Joe.
Maybe Barack Obama. I don't know. Somebody else is pulling the strings, but it's not him.
Former President Trump, if he's convicted on any of these 91 indictments by a jury, not by a judge, but by a jury, would that give you pause about supporting his campaign?
Hell no.
Hell no. He gonna walk around with the ankle monitor, and we gonna put the free Trump on there, and we just gonna rock it out like that. That's
what we gotta do. That's what we gonna do. It ain't gonna be Joe.
Hell no. I don't give a damn if he's convicted of 2,099 crimes. I'm voting for President Trump because those are all made up crimes.
Thanks.
Those are all made up charges. This man
is
in his 70s. In his 70 years of living, he's never been convicted of anything. So now all of a sudden, excuse my language, but we see through the BS.
We do.
We see through it. And I know there are people in my family who did not vote for President Trump. And it was hard for me to convince them. I could not convince them at all. And I went back to visit some of them. And they
changed their mind.
The media and these crooked Democrats have convinced them to vote for President Trump.
Come on
because
now.
they see right through the BS.
Come on now.
And they see that Joe Biden has not done anything for this country. They can see it. They can feel it. They can feel it when they go to the grocery store and they have to scramble to find change, to find money to pay for eggs and milk. President Trump doesn't even have to convince anybody to vote for him, because the Joe Biden is what he's doing right now, which is absolutely nothing. He is helping President Trump by not doing a damn thing.